Magnesite and Cosmic Wonder. Ain't seen you in a little bit, man. Let's check this out. I want to know what is happening with the plot on this. Make sure you get over to the Cosmic Wonder and subscribe. Tell him Tyrone Magnus sent you. Heard he's almost at 1 million. He's doing his thing, man. All right.
We have even more leaks for Spider-Man Brand New Day. After
Really?
the full trailer got leaked, we have some more information about the movie, a full plot leak.
You know, I thought I had heard about that. I saw a couple of, grainy, and, and I was just like, I don't even know if this is real or AI, but he's telling me it really got leaked, then it really got leaked, and I'm going to have to look for it now.
That talks about a lot, including the Venom symbiote and MJ getting a new boyfriend. And that boyfriend is going to be somebody very familiar, not to the MCU. It's going to be someone new to the MCU, but a very familiar name. And I think some fans are going to say it's about time. This plot...
Who? Eddie Brock? Miles Morales? That would be funny.
Leak. It's pretty detailed. As with all plot leaks, take it with a grain of salt, but the trailer did just leak, and a lot of people are talking about what this could be. I will say, something that I've personally heard is mentioned in this plot leak. It doesn't mean the entire thing is true,
right?
But there is one part that I have heard, so I am very curious to kind of know where this is coming from, especially with the trailer just being leaked recently, in which we've heard that the trailer got leaked because it's from an app where you have to sign a bunch of stuff to watch some trailers early and get feedback. There's like 50 invisible watermarks in the trailer, apparently, and the guy who...
Man, why don't y'all send that to me? Whoever's responsible for that, I'm going to give you real, true fan feedback. Get a hold of me. All right? Business only. Tyrone Magnus Media at gmail.com.
Recorded it is apparently screwed. That is a report from Ned
Screwed
Takes. And I've actually...
Legally?
Working with Disney in the past.
Well, what's going to happen with them?
They did give you a specific app, and every time you went to watch something, you did have to sign a lot, and it did put watermarks on it. It would put your name on it. That way, obviously, if you leaked it out, they knew who leaked it out. So,
when they gave me they let me see Zack Snyder's Justice League early. There was a particular app that I had to sign into to be able to, it wasn't a bunch of, I don't remember having to click a bunch of agreements. I probably had to, but I think I would have remembered if it was a whole bunch of stuff, but I do remember that.
That person probably is pretty screwed if they find out who it is, and it sounds like the watermarks on there, they're going to reveal who it is. So it sounds like, by all means, that trailer was definitely real. It might be an earlier version of the trailer. The full official one might be a little bit different. But what we saw was legitimately real.
All right.
But let's dive into this plot leak. And if you want to stay up to date with Spider-Man and Avengers Doomsday and all things Marvel, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're almost to 1 million subscribers. I appreciate everybody in the community. All right, this is a very long plot leak. So stick with me because...
He said long.
The end is really cool. I think the whole thing is actually pretty cool, but it says, after Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter is basically a ghost. Peter Parker spends all his time as Spider-Man saving the city. Peter narrates a confession to MJ, only to himself, and believes she's better off without him. Same with Ned. Big themes of loneliness and isolation. Now, we actually already heard that in the leaked teaser trailer. Peter Parker was talking to himself, and he's like, I'm Peter Parker, I'm Spider-Man. In order to save people that I loved, I had to do something. Even if it's really hard for, Peter Parker, I had to do it as Spider-Man. Everybody forgot who I was. So yeah, that's where we're at here. This makes a lot of sense so far. Loneliness and isolation, yeah, especially when we get into the part of MJ having a new boyfriend, and, Peter's just going to be watching. I get this. I think this is a very real plot to go into for this movie. It says a quick montage scene of Peter beating up mid-villains. I love how it says mid-villains. Boomerang, Tarantula, Ramrod, Chameleon.
In other words, no names. Thug number 1. Thug number 2. Mugger number 1.
And Rhino. New York City loves Spider-Man, except for the DODC, as they view him as something they have to manage. This is kind of interesting because if this is
Who's the
true, it
DODC?
means that they don't necessarily view him as a villain, right? But he does have powers and he is probably doing his own thing, right? Stopping crime in his own way. So it's someone that you have to manage slash monitor because they might flip the switch any day, and they might think Spider-Man can flip the switch any day as well. But it continues and says Peter is avoiding his real life, only focusing on Spider-Man. And that makes sense because nobody knows who Peter Parker is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to wonder how, he was going to go to college, but if nobody remembers who Peter Parker is, does he still have like college transcripts? Or his high school transcripts and everything like that?
There's got to, because that's to do with people's minds. So, if he's, just because you made him forget, didn't say they erased all evidence of his existence. So he should be able to go, and they may not remember him. But he said, no, if you look under, it's there. And it should be there in their filing cabinet or in their computer. You know what I mean?
Like, could he still actually get into college, or would he have to like adapt to a completely new name or make a whole entire new background for him? Not sure how the spell works, but we're going to find out in this movie. The montage ends with Peter having problems with his powers. The more stressed Peter gets, the more unstable his powers get. Webbing turns organic at times. He gets more aggressive and body starts changing. Okay, so this is something that I've heard recently.
Webbing turns organic. Now all of a sudden he's getting like Toby. Interesting. I never liked that they did that. That was one of the things, like, because I was like hardcore, you know what I mean? Spider-Man, that's like all I collected majority of the time when I was younger. And then I collected certain ones when he would cross over with other people in Marvel. I had some X-Men stuff, and I would do some Batman, some Superman stuff over for DC. But I never liked that. I was like, why did you go that way? He has web shooters. That's part of, I don't know. It just it's just like, oh, Batman makes batarangs from his own skin now. Like, wait, why? Okay. It's his main staple, pretty much, in his bat gun, and taking people down. Why are you making it organic now? Just because later on someone injected him with a serum that made him the man bat. Number 2, and he was able to, like, what I'm saying? It's, like, I remember something happening to Peter where he basically turned into a damn spider. I remember that. And, he was grotesque. And he had webs that would come out of his hands and everything. And I was like, did they adapt to that? Or is that from another version of him? Because I don't know. I mean, while I was a big Spider-Man fan, it's almost impossible for you to know everything, so. But I never liked that.
The thing that I said I heard from somebody, this is one of those things. That his webbing turns organic. Now,
Batman was probably a bad example because Batman doesn't have any powers, but you know where I was going with it. It's just like, look,
at the time, I didn't get too much information about it. I thought maybe it was due to Jean Grey, right? Doing something, or maybe it did have to do with Shothra. I'm not sure. They're probably not diving too deep into the Spider Totem story and Morlun and stuff like that. I know the comic fans are probably thinking that. I don't think they're diving that deep into it. I think it's really just going to be about the main villain, who we still don't even know who it is at this point in time. Right? Yeah. We just recently heard that Tremel Tillman.
I could see him running into Toby, but like, look, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, I assume they're in this. They may not be, but it'd be crazy if they are. And if Andrew and Toby are in this, that's weird.
Play the head of the DODC, and they're hunting a metahuman or a superpowered individual that is Sadie Sink's character. A lot of people are thinking it could be Jean Grey. Some insiders are thinking that Shothra was a big misdirect. But I've heard that there is a scene with one of whoever this character is with Sadie Sink and Peter. Something happens to him. It wasn't very clear. It wasn't relayed very clearly to me. But he gets organic webbing. So this is something that I've kind of heard before. I heard this a few days ago, and I know a lot of information has come out about it today, but I heard this a few days ago. So we'll have to wait and see. Sadie Sink plays Jean Grey. Okay, well, there you go.
And if that does happen, why? I'm kind of like wondering what's the purpose of that, of giving him organic webbing. Make him more like Toby? I don't know. Like,
Who's on the run because the DODC believes she's an unregistered mutant with uncontrolled power. This is really interesting right here if it's true because they're starting to register mutants. This definitely will lead into the mutant saga and definitely will lead into the big storyline with Professor X and Magneto, basically X-Men versus humans, how they live together, Magneto's different views, Professor X's different views. If this is real, that's it. Big implications, which we've been hearing. Jean's goal is to stay free and expose the DODC. We also heard that the DODC is doing experiments on mutants. They're basically doing whatever they want. They have no jurisdiction, right? Nobody has jurisdiction over them. So they're doing what they want. They're torturing mutants. So that makes sense as well. She wants to expose the DODC, and she's probably going to hurt them, which is probably why Spider-Man jumps in and tries to get in her way, because in the trailer we hear her say, "Stay out of my way, Spider-Man." Jean sees Spider-Man as reckless whenever he appears. The situation gets worse. Totally makes sense. Seems very legitimate. She suspects DODC will connect her to Spider-Man and use that as an excuse to hunt her. The Punisher protects Jean because they work together. That's something that we've recently heard as well in a previous leak, a couple days ago, I think. Tombstone is essentially the big bad. Interesting. He wants the city unstable because he profits when the streets are scared. Tombstone bankrolls the Hand, the evil organization of ninjas, and if you've seen the Netflix series or read the comics, you know who the...
It's the reason why we call our clan the Foot. It was a parody. Yeah, if you don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was originally a very serious, dark, gritty parody of certain things from the comics. They mixed in Daredevil stuff with, the Hand. That's why they picked the Foot. Get it? Yeah, so.
They are. Tombstone bankrolls the Hand to hit the DODC and free Scorpion. Okay.
Scorpion.
We know that Scorpion does get broken out of jail. Victory. We know that. We've seen the leaked video of that, so that's
Fatality.
Legit. The DODC is transporting Matt Gargan to a more secure location. It's a big convoy scene. Yeah, we've basically seen the leaked photos and videos of that as well, and it looks pretty freaking legit from the leaked video set. The Hand attacks the convoy on the highway while Spider-Man comes to fight them off. The Punisher helps too. Again, we've seen the leaks for this. DODC crashes at a prison where Gargan escapes. Okay? After the disaster, the Hand storms the prison to release more prisoners. This is where Spider-Man fights a wave of ninjas at the prison. Spidey has problems with his powers again, but Punisher saves him from the Hand and they retreat. I will say... Well, let me finish this next part. After the prison chaos, Peter's body isn't acting normal anymore. Banner is the only person who can help. Peter's body forces a metamorphosis and ends up in a web cocoon. Peter's emotions causing this organic webbing occurs. Peter's emotions are causing this. Organic webbing occurs, more feral, and extra limbs come and go. That's real.
See, I told y'all about that. I just told you about it. I don't know if they called him the Man Spider. I forgot what they called him, but I remember when that happened.
Really interesting. I don't know about this.
I'm already like... It made me do that. It did. As soon as he said it, I was like... It's all in execution, though. There are a lot of good and bad stories and elements and ideas from the comics. Sometimes you can bring something that was totally cool in the comics, and it might not work on the live screen, depending on, how you do it. And it can work so many different ways. Something bad you can bring, and if you do it right, it'll be like, it was stupid in the comics, but they made it work live action. You know what I'm saying? And all types of other ways, like I'm saying, so we'll see.
Heard about the organic webbing. Makes sense that he would get more feral, but growing extra limbs?
Turning him into a monster. I don't
know about this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd like to see it.
Yeah. I remember the picture. I'm going to see if I can find the picture of it. I think he was on the cover. I don't know. I may or may not have it. I can't remember, though. But I'm going to try to look for it.
But you let me know what you think about that. Obviously, for comic books, it's not unheard of, right?
Right.
And we've seen it.
Yeah.
But
So he
before,
knows.
but not in live action. I don't know how I'd feel about this. But some
No.
things are kind of are coming together now.
Might as well release them during Halloween. Do like that.
Like why Peter would seek out Banner, because we have actually heard in that trailer he goes to seek out Professor Banner. He says, Professor Banner, I need your help. So it would make sense that his body starts acting up and he would go to Bruce Banner because he obviously knows him, even though Banner doesn't know who Peter Parker is. Banner knows who Spider-Man is, right? Because people still remember who Spider-Man is. Let's not forget that. People just don't remember who Peter Parker is.
Right.
So they still kind of know each other a little bit. Banner knows Spider-Man. This totally adds up.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense. And
So
again,
you should just be able to go talk to him.
something similar that he gets organic webbing, and we've seen
Oh, he's definitely the guy to talk to when you want to talk about metamorphosis.
Spider-Man's powers act up before with Tobey Maguire, right, where he couldn't shoot webs.
Yeah.
Where
He's
his
stressed
feelings
out,
and
though,
everything
right?
in life kind of overload him. He gets stressed out and stuff, and it messes with his powers. So essentially, we're seeing this again with Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
I find that to be hilarious because, the men do know that if you get too stressed out, certain things don't function right. And then you can't shoot.
Tombstone upgrades Gargan and sends Scorpion at Spider-Man to get rid of him for interfering with his business. Amazing fight scene across the streets and buildings of New York City, but Spider-Man wins. Peter becomes unstable and in pain again, which lets Scorpion escape. Okay? So he wins, but then his body interferes and it allows Scorpion to escape.
Okay.
Banner's under insane stress from Peter, the DODC, and taps into a new personality, Grey Hulk. Banner loses control, which causes Hulk to...
Interesting. I cannot wait. I hope and pray that they eventually do Spidey Goes Cosmic. Because he knocked the Hulk, the Grey Hulk, into orbit. And then he had to fly up into space to go get him and bring him back. I remember that. I have that. I have that comic. Somewhere in storage, somewhere.
go crazy and tear the streets. Basically, stress and emotional turmoil cause this transformation. It seems like stress and emotional turmoil are going to be kind of a theme in this. Grey Hulk's really interesting because I was thinking like Joe Fixit, but there are other iterations, and I'm not sure calling him Grey Hulk is actually referencing a specific Grey Hulk from the comics. Probably just referencing a different color that Banner is going to be turning in this movie, and it sounds like he is, Savage again. He goes crazy and he terrorizes the streets. So, Savage Hulk, hopefully, is returning still, just as Grey Hulk. Punisher shows up in a tank to fight and try to save Banner.
We'll see what they do.
Likewise, Spider-Man joins and attempts to help Banner. Jean returns and calms Banner, bringing him back to normal, which makes sense. Psychic abilities. Yeah. Just when Banner is back to normal, Peter's stress is maxed out and reaches a breaking point, causing him to become Man-Spider.
See how I remembered? I had to dig into my files from childhood to think of that.
Man-Spider loses all human...
Wait a minute. Also, they showed it in Spider-Man. They showed it in the 90s, right?
Features and fights them. Jean anchors Peter mentally and helps Peter realize that he can't only be Spider-Man, but the human side is just important. So basically, he has to be Peter Parker as well. Once he realizes that, he turns back to normal. Bruce finishes the antidote/serum to stabilize Peter's mutation fully. Jean goes on her way, thanking them for trusting her. She returns in Secret Wars. Peter finally finds MJ and her boyfriend, who is Harry Osborn.
Okay.
Again, if this is real, about time.
I don't know why I didn't think about that. I don't know why I didn't think of it. Of course. I don't know why I didn't think of it. They did it another one.
He tells her everything that happened from No Way Home. The narration from the beginning of the movie. Interesting. Peter understands he can't just be Spider-Man, but Peter Parker is just as important. Ned appears too. Here's the...
You know what's so funny about that? Like in real life, A girl, especially, is going to have several photos. She's going to have several photos of herself with him. She's going to have love notes. She has stuff she wrote. She's going to have different things of them together, all that stuff. So the spell is weird. You're going to have to make the spell go further. So if you want them truly to forget, because as soon as they get home, his number's in their phone, their friends on Facebook, their friends on Instagram, they follow each other here and there, they're going to have pictures of each other, selfies together, voicemails, voice messages, in their messaging and DM. Like, the spell's going to have to cut some stuff. You know what I mean? Like, really get rid of stuff.
The thing. I've always thought that eventually MJ and Peter Parker were going to get back together, right? She's gonna understand, the spell's gonna be lifted off her, and she'll remember everything. Essentially, same thing with Ned, and they'll be friends again. I think that's Tom Holland's Spider-Man's happy ending. Now, I don't think that comes until after Secret Wars, and it says that Jean Grey will return in Secret Wars. And this leak says the post-credit scene includes the symbiote. And what we've actually been hearing recently from the Cosmic Circus, Alex Perez, is that Tom Holland is indeed going to get the symbiote in Avengers Secret Wars.
Okay.
Now, a big theory that we've had, and that I've been hearing going around lately as well, is that Tom Holland is going to die in Spider-Man Brand New Day, but the symbiote will bring him back in Avengers Secret Wars, and that could explain why he's not in Avengers Doomsday, which I think that would be a good explanation. But at the same time, I don't know about him dying. This plot leak doesn't say that he dies, but again, of course, we don't know if this is real or not. Seems pretty good, though. And again, that one part does line up with what I've been hearing, but maybe other people have heard it as well, and they're trying to put a lot of stuff together. A lot of this does line up with the leaked trailer that we saw, so at least part of this is true. I'd say we can actually probably confirm right now at least half of this is true. The stuff about him becoming Man-Spider is very interesting to me, and something that I just didn't think that they would do on screen.
Never.
But please, let me know
I never even thought about that.
Because I am curious to hear what...
To me, it's too, like, Hollywood monster. You know, it's just one of those things in comics where it's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to see that live action. But... What do you
think about him turning into Man-Spider?
Yeah, I don't want
Very curious
to
hear your thoughts. So leave your
Hopefully
thoughts
they can make it work, though.
Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe.
Thank you very much, Cosmic Wonder. Damn good video. I'm glad I watched it. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. If you enjoyed my reaction and thoughts and commentary, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers. Woo!